Hello everyone, today exciting day. I'm going to show you my new pattern, which is a shawl, and I call it Grass and Flowers Shawl. And to knit it, you just need one skein of fingering weight yarn. Let me show you 3 of them. In an order, I knit them. So as you can notice, there are 2 sizes going on over here. The first 2 that I showed you are a small size, and then this one is a big size. But I created this pattern so when you grab one skein of fingering weight yarn, and we're talking about 3 thicknesses over here, there is a size for you to knit. So I'm going to tell you more about it. Now, in regard sizes, you have on the screen how big they are if you want to knit one. However, you need to take into consideration the gauge, obviously, because if your gauge is slightly different, you may use more or less yarn, which eventually will also create smaller or bigger shawl. Therefore, the gauge is 22 stitches by 30 rows in 4-inch, so 10 centimeters sample. And I mentioned we have 2 sizes, and now on the screen, quite interesting bit. Therefore, if you find in your stash one skein that on the label it says that it has 425 meters, which is 464 yards, you can knit size 1 and size 2. You will have enough. And you don't have to have even the border over here in contrast color, you can use it all. However, if you find the skein with 400 meters, which is 437 yards, you can knit size 1 with just one color if you want to, but with size 2, you would need to include a small mini, and you will use that color for the cast on and for the first 4 rows. I hope I remember it right. Anyway, it's written down over there. So if you grab a skein of yarn that it's 366 meters, which is 400 yards, you can only knit size 1. You will not have enough for size 2 with just one skein. But if you want to knit a bigger size, just bear in mind you'll probably need 2. Needles. I got the gauge using US size 4, which is 3.5 millimeter needles. And now construction. Is this pattern for beginners? I would say from intermediate, maybe advanced knitter. However, if you're a beginner and you would want to learn new things, listen carefully. I'm going to tell you what this pattern involves, and maybe you've done those bits or you were looking forward to learn them, and that's perfect project to do so. The construction is quite unusual. We start this shawl from casting on loads of stitches, so we start from bottom up, and I love this method because you just have less stitches on your needles, and that's basically motivates you to kind of finish it quicker, just from my own perspective experience. Therefore, we're casting on loads of stitches, and we're putting markers while we're casting it on, just to make sure that we do not lose the count. There is a link to tutorial how to do long tail cast on, that's the one I'm doing in the pattern. So quite easy at this point. The pattern is constructed with the lace section and the garter section. So for the lace section, we have a chart and we have a written instructions. In the chart, on the side, there is a column telling you how many total repeats we're going to do. Depends on the size you're going to pick. In the written instruction, the whole repeat is the 1 repeat, and in the brackets you will have those extra repeats that you need to do. So if you sum them up together, will give you a total number. The shawl is not the same from one side to another side. It is a mirror reflection. Therefore, there is slight difference from one side to another side, and especially you may notice that on the row 27. We have some bubbles over here, Barbara's bubbles. There's a link to tutorial how to do that, which is quite my easy way to make bubbles that you don't have to turn the work while you're making them. You don't have to turn the work. I repeat this. So we have a few around the shawl, and there's also a tutorial, well, link to tutorial how to do center double decrease, because that's what we'll be doing that over here too. So I would say if you're a beginner and you would want to kind of have a glimpse of that, check it out. The other thing, the wrong side section is not written down. There is information how to do it, like a sample, and then basically you just follow your stitches. So that's something that beginners would need to learn, how to read the stitches on the left needle to follow the stitches that they see. Therefore, which means that when you have a knit stitch on the right side, that will be a purl stitch on the wrong side. And then with a purl stitch on the right side, you will knit on the wrong side. That's something exciting there. There's a different decrease in the light section, different decrease in the garter section, so bear in mind there is written information, but bear in mind if you're watching that, because we have a tendency to just continue what we're doing in the garter section. Garter section is maybe a 30%, I would say, of the whole shawl. So 70% would be, roughly 70% would be the lace section and 30% the garter section. So just to give you a glimpse. And if you're interested to check this pattern, the link is down below, and there's 20% discount code for a limited period of time. And hopefully I'll link later on to LoveCrafts. They don't have an option for sales, so I'm sorry about that. Now let me show you the 3 shawls and what kind of yarn I use to knit each. And this is my first shawl that I knitted. This is size small, as you can see. You could probably recognize it. I use over here a single ply yarn, and this is 366 meters, which is 400 yards. Therefore, I could only do a small size. So I used a beautiful mini over here to get a contrast. I love this kind of aesthetic that it kind of pops in, gives that frame of the shawl, so I would recommend you to do that. Obviously you do you. And I love the whole shape. The yarn on the screen over here because I knitted it in 2019. So I got the yarn during Bubbles Yarn retreats in Ireland. Thank you so much for my test knitters. They also knitted amazing shawls. So for instance, as you can see, this is kind of tonal, well, color. You could have a bit of shades. Another one that I'm going to show you is a speckled one and the gradient one. But if you go to the pattern per se, and in the on the tab over there you have projects, you'll find a beautiful shawls knitted by my test knitters. One of them knitted in the cotton, and one of them knitted in beautiful gradient too. One of them actually did 2 colors. Go and check it out. They're beautiful shawls and they have different color combinations, which may give you a hint what you would want to knit or what kind of yarn you would want to use. And this is my speckled shawl. This is also size 1. This is also 366 meters, 400 yards. So, and I also used a border, kind of matching to the speckles that I have in the shawl. And as you can see, it still looks beautiful. So this is it, Toil and Trouble, as you can see on the screen. And this is 100% superwash merino wool. The music makers and information about the yarn on the screen now, so check it out. So thank you so much for my friend for grabbing the skein from her stash and gifting it to me. As you can see, I love it so much, and I can't now fully wear it, and I love one skein shawls for like walks. I have some leftovers in regards the minis if you're interested, but I do not remember. I just got a few and they were not labeled. I presume the ones that I used, but in the next shawl I know everything. This is size 2, and over here what I used, and this is a Billum, I think that's how you say it, yarns, 100% merino wool, 400 meters, like I said, 400 meters, which is 437 yards. It doesn't say yards on the back. I got this yarn during Edinburgh Yarn Festival, so I'm so happy that I will be wearing it. As you can see, it's perfect. However, you may not notice, but I have a border over here, and I got this gold color using Knit Picks, and this is Essential Gold Kettle Hand Dyed. So that's a presumed color 2475, and it says 462 yards. So yeah, 400 meters. So thank you so much for checking my patterns, link down below, and purchasing and supporting this channel this way. I'm happy to have you here, and thank you so much for watching my finished object videos, and especially the ones with my patterns. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Bye! And don't forget to use that 20% coupon code.